7 days in May is a way to raise awareness and funds for pancreatic cancer research. We have a flagship event, which is a 7-day ride through now Southern Ontario, and every nickel that we raise goes towards research in Canada.
7 days in May is a life-changing ride.
If you want to challenge yourself and you want to actually ride something that feels meaningful, do 7 days in May.
We ride 160 kilometers a day.
It's a huge challenge. You're doing a massive distance 7 days in a row.
Man, when you're making those last few kilometers, there's a huge sense of accomplishment.
I mean, I've run marathons and I've done this ride. This is harder than a marathon.
People do it, and they do it for 7 straight days, and they do it because they care. They also do it because of Gord and his family.
Keep going, don't stop.
This ride has helped raise awareness for a disease that hasn't had a lot of awareness. We didn't know anything about it until our mother got pancreatic cancer, and then we started learning.
My mom, Lorraine, was diagnosed in December 2009 with pancreatic cancer. We went and saw the surgeon late December, and she confirmed that she had an operable tumor in her pancreas.
It really was a roller coaster where you hear the diagnosis and it's devastating, but then everything seemed to be going well. She qualified for surgery, the Whipple procedure. She was given clean bills of health.
By Thanksgiving, the cancer was back.
It came back with a vengeance.
At that point, there wasn't anything else we could do.
On Halloween night, Lorraine, you've got 2 weeks to go, and she goes, I know, and that's it. So sure enough, 2 weeks to the day, November 14th, my mom passed away. She was like that.
It was tough, but also kind of heartwarming to see just how much of an impact she had on all of us.
You get diagnosed with pancreatic cancer right now, it's a death sentence, and it hurts.
By the time your symptoms show up, it's almost too late.
It's been chronically underfunded in the past.
Anything that we can do to try and stand up against it and try to make a difference and make an impact towards that, I think that is something that needs to be done, and if nobody else is going to do it, then we should.
Lorraine was a great person. She would be really happy today to know that we've done this. And it's kind of funny that we did this biking ride because she thought that bikers should be off the road.
And I'm sure she would have hated it. She would have hated to see that many cyclists on the road. But you know what? She would have also understood that we all had something to do. We all had a cause. And, inspired by her, we all put our best foot forward and we did the dang thing.
My mother-in-law had died in the November of 2011, and Gord wanted to do a fundraiser.
I remember him saying, I was sitting having a scotch and I wanted some way to remember Mom, and I decided to do this, and are you guys okay with it? Sure, absolutely.
When my dad said, we have to do something about this, we have to start a ride or raise funds, let people know this thing is really, really bad, I was fully on board.
I talked to my brother-in-law, Fred, and said, hey, Fred, what's a challenging ride you have never done that you'd like to do? He said, I'd like to ride around Lake Ontario.
I'd been riding 6-7 years at this point. Still sounded extremely daunting.
And that's sort of how the concept was born. There was one day in our first year, it was a torrential downpour, and there was just some moments of terrible wind, high volumes of rain.
It's brutal. It's really bad.
What happened through that process, we did a lot of tweeting, we did a lot of Facebook posting, we did a lot of sharing of info. We actually touched something like 100,000 people through social media and stuff like that. And I had people from all over the place asking me about the ride.
Every year since then, it's grown.
Our fundraising has just grown so much year over year.
And we've raised well over $1 million at this point.
It's had an incredible impact on us, on our organization, and on research. Not only does it raise an incredible amount of money that goes a very long way in research, but the number of people who have now heard about pancreatic cancer, who are going to talk to their family members, who are going to talk to their doctor about it, it's really changed lives.
So their first year is actually this one here. This is sort of the the Cadillac of the jerseys. There's a lot of sweat and tears in some of these. See the bird on the front here? It's one of the, it's in the memory of one of our friends that passed away.
We'll have about 65 to 70 in-person riders. We'll probably add about 40 virtual riders, so we'll have over 100 people participating across the country during the week.
The impact of what you do is made readily apparent every single day when you meet people on that ride.
The family that we met in the United States, Mark Douglas. And Mark had pancreatic cancer at the time, and they came and they brought homemade cookies, and they just said, thank you. And Mark was obviously dealing with cancer. He hugged every rider. They stood and waited for 2 hours till every rider came in. That family that we never knew before, we made a little bit of difference in their lives, but they made a huge difference in our lives.
We're just on our way to visit the NCIC Clinical Trials Group in Kingston.
The Monday morning of the ride around the lake, we'd go to the Clinical Trials Center, and we could see where the funding was going.
They basically informed us that, their funding from the government had been cut short that year. And if it weren't for our donation, they would have shut down.
They brought in a patient who actually was able to thrive and succeed very well. It had extended her life dramatically by being on this clinical trial. I remember watching her talk to the crowd, and it really moved our 20-some riders that were with us that day to really understand that what they were contributing to actually help change people's lives.
It's been an honor and a pleasure to be part of this, but it's really been awesome to watch Pancreatic Cancer Canada grow. The funds that have been raised, the people that have been touched, the lives that have been changed, and the survivors that maybe 10 years ago wouldn't have survived.
They're an incredible foundation, and it's been a great partnership for the last 7 years.
They have brought their passion and their joy to us, and the fact that we've been able to partner with them and create an even larger event that raises more money and now has the potential to be from coast to coast, I'm really proud of that.
I think what I'd be proudest of would be helping to create a movement for pancreatic cancer.
There's awareness that this little group of crazy people have done something for pancreatic cancer, so we've touched many lives. I think that's a great accomplishment.
The thing that my dad and my family have got, especially from my grandma, is this idea that if you set your mind to something, keep going, because you can make a huge difference.
We are sad that the Townley family is going to take a step back.
So this will be our last and final larger ride, and then we're going to hand it over to another group that is going to take over and work with Pancreatic Cancer Canada.
We're really excited that they've picked up the mantle, and I think they'll do a great job.
Over the 11 years, we created a nice momentum. We're handing it over in a good position.
We don't want to ever take away the magic that Gordon and his family have created. The Townleys created that heart in that event and created that love and that passion, and we're going to work very hard to make sure that we can continue that tradition.
We'll still support any initiatives that go towards supporting pancreatic cancer, because even though it was personal for us losing our mother, there's a whole lot of other people that it's also personal for.
I think the future is bright for 7 days in May.
I hope the ride doesn't ever slow down. I hope it just keeps growing. I don't know if in my lifetime we're going to see it get to the point where it's got the same survival statistics as something like breast cancer or testicular cancer, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't try.
The change that can be wrought over 7 days, the camaraderie, the passion, the joy, the fundraising, the stories, the friendship, all of those things happen at 7 days in May.
If it brings hope to just one person, then it's worth it.
To learn more about how you can help, please visit pancreaticcancercanada.ca.